What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. We got some major things here for you guys today. Let's jump right in. Okay, first up, we officially have a railroad strike starting. You can see here, rail union becomes the first to authorize a strike, threatening a massive supply chain issue that could cause spiking prices from groceries to goods to massive things across the United States and could cause a massive shortage of goods as well, as things could come to a grinding halt here. And this has officially started here today. Here's the details. Nearly 5,000 railway workers at the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers voted to reject a tentative contract agreement with railroads and authorize a strike, the union said here today. So this is one of the unions. There's multiple different ones. Will we see more, and will they vote together here? And how big will this be? IAM members are the first to approve a strike and reject a contract based on recommendation released by the White House appointed board last month. The vote reveals that rail workers are not satisfied with the agreement, which calls for 24% raises and back pay, but doesn't address worker demands for more predictable scheduling and the ability to take time off for doctor's appointments without being penalized. IAM said it would delay strike action until September 29th at noon to allow union leaders to continue negotiations with railroads. Quote, "We look forward to continuing that vital work with a fair contract that ensures our members and their families are treated with the respect they deserve for keeping America's goods and resources moving through the pandemic." More than 115,000 rail workers are legally allowed to strike as of Friday, a move that would shut down the transportation of food, fuel, and other goods, likely damaging the nation's strained supply chains and driving up prices. Lawmakers in Congress could prepare and use their authority to block a walkout, but that doesn't mean that the actual workers can't walk out. So they can try to. Congress can try to prevent this, but the people themselves don't have to actually physically go to work. You know how people are, right? GOP senators are backing a bill that would enact a new contract based on the presidential board's recommendations. The option railroads and other business interests are lobbying for, while Democratic leaders say they will intervene if necessary. Also, the Senate is considering a massive Taiwan bill, which the White House is not comfortable with and could potentially cause massive problems with China, who is already not happy at all with us, particularly militarily. The details on this say a Senate panel is set to consider a major overhaul of U.S. policy towards Taiwan on Wednesday, despite concerns from the Biden administration. The Taiwan Policy Act of 2022, introduced by Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Menendez, Democrat from New Jersey, and Senator Lindsey Graham, who is a Republican from South Carolina in June, seeks to clarify America's commitments to the island, Taiwan, which were established by the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979. This Taiwan Relation Act is kind of what holds us to support them militarily with weapons and goods and to sell them any weapons that they need. The new bill would set aside $4.5 billion in assistance for Taiwan over 4 years and designate Taiwan a major non-NATO ally, because they're not part of NATO, which would benefit the island in terms of defense, trade, and security cooperation. The bill would also support Taiwan's participation in international organizations and multilateral trade architecture. Now, remember here that this is a bipartisan bill supported by Democrats and Republicans. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham here. $4.5 billion sounds like a lot, but that's in the scheme of the United States, that's a tiny, tiny amount. Remember, for comparison, the last stimulus package was $1.9 trillion. Just to kind of give you guys a comparison. I know it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but in the scheme of the amount of money the United States spends, just to kind of give you a comparison there. China, of course, who's warned the U.S. multiple times to stay out of Taiwan and China's business, is vehemently opposed to the legislation, viewing it as an affront to the U.S. One China principle, a politically ambiguous policy dating back to 1972's Shanghai communication that states China on either side of the Taiwan Strait maintain there is but one China and that Taiwan is part of China, even though Taiwan says that they're an independent nation. China says, quote, "We are firmly opposed to this. We urge the U.S. side to fully recognize the high sensitivity of the Taiwan question, earnestly respect China's core concerns, abide by the One China principle, and the three Sino-U.S. joint communications, observe international law and basic norms governing international relations. Stop marking up these negative bills on Taiwan and stop interfering in China's international affairs." And this last paragraph is interesting. It'll be really interesting to watch this business meeting. And if we see Democrats not supporting Chairman Menendez, the Democratic leader of this portion, one of my first questions is going to be, were they being told by the White House to do that or encouraged by the White House to do that? Bowman says. And I mean, I've had a lot of people in the comment section ask, why are they doing this now? Why are they kind of provoking China, especially with what's going on with Russia and Ukraine? We're kind of, combating that and supporting the war there and funding a lot of that. We've already funded $40 billion there, which is nothing to sneeze at. Now we're going to start throwing billions of dollars over to Taiwan. You kind of got to wonder, why are we provoking this on two fronts now? It really does kind of make you wonder why. Now, with Ukraine and Russia, Ukraine is a massive, massive country. 45 million people there. The country itself is a huge, massive country. Taiwan here is a population of 23, maybe 24 million people. So half the size of that. It's a much, much smaller island. Now, in comparison to China, China's population is 1.4 billion with a B. Yeah. And then in comparison to the US, we're about 330 million. So China's population is like 4 times the size of our population. They have 4 times more people than we have alone. So, I mean, realistically, Taiwan could not fend off China. It's just, it just can't, it's just not realistic. I mean, no matter how many weapons you supplied them or money you supplied them, it just really couldn't happen. I mean, China's got 4 times the population of the United States. It's just Taiwan is just, it would just be kind of a lost cause. I mean, you can let me know your thoughts here in this, but I mean, you could see here, I mean, India actually has about the same population as China. The United States is way down here. Now, the United States is considered the world's best military because we spend so much money in military and we have advanced, systems and weaponry. But just by sheer population, India and China both have 4 times the population of us. Fox News is in a bit of a pickle. A judge orders Fox News to start turning over files from a pool of millions of documents to a Smartmatic voting machines in a multi-billion dollar lawsuit, which could turn out to be very problematic. On the heels of a ruling advancing Smartmatic's multi-billion dollar lawsuit against Fox News months earlier, a Manhattan judge on Tuesday ordered the conservative network to start turning over files from pools of millions of documents that the voting machine company demanded. More than a year has passed since Smartmatic filed a $2.7 billion complaint against Fox News and the network's personalities, multiple ones here: Maria Bartiromo, Janine Ferraro, Lou Dobbs, and former President Donald Trump's lawyers, Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani. As the case played out in New York, Dominion also has advanced a $1.6 billion complaint against Fox News and Fox Broadcasting Company in Delaware. Both lawsuits took aim against the Fox News company pro-Trump conspiracy theories involving the voting machine company's relation to the election. The network failed to dismiss both lawsuits earlier this year, but it looks like this is going to be a lengthy process, but it also could be a very expensive process, even with the lawyer fees alone. Let me know your thoughts on this. Another state passes abortion ban law. West Virginia legislature passes abortion ban with few exceptions here today, or actually yesterday. West Virginia legislature on Tuesday passed a bill that will prohibit nearly all abortions except to save a pregnant person's life or in certain cases that involve rape or incest. House Bill 302 passed the state Senate in a 22-7 vote, and the House gave it a final approval in a 77-17 vote. The bill would significantly curtail access to abortion in a state where it is currently legal up to 20 weeks post-fertilization. According to the draft of the bill, any physician or other licensed medical practitioner who intentionally or recklessly performs or induces an abortion in violation of the law could be subject to discipline, including losing their entire medical license. Women who receive abortions will not face any penalties, according to the measure. But it's the doctors who will, and that's why they won't be done. It will allow some exceptions for victims of rape or incest as long as the incident is reported to law enforcement. The measure was swiftly denounced by abortion rights advocates on Tuesday. Quote, after weeks of discussions behind closed doors, the West Virginia legislature has voted to ban abortion. It's impossible to overstate what a dark day this is for liberty and for the state. Quote, this is nothing more extreme than a law that strips people of the freedom to govern their own bodies. And our state lawmakers have shamefully forced this despicable bill down our throats behind closed doors in a matter of hours. Before this, abortion was legal only up until 20 weeks in West Virginia. And just yesterday, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham introduced a bill to ban abortions nationwide after 15 weeks, which is, early in the pregnancy. It's about the time where you can start to detect a lot of things. And this is when, it would be pretty early in the pregnancy for a lot of different things here. Lindsey Graham introduced a bill to ban abortions nationwide. He said, "We're going to vote on this one way or another." And he said, if Republicans take over Congress, this could happen. This could happen. So, and then the vote here is in about a month and a half. So we're getting that this could be an actual thing. And this is happening in a lot of states here right now. So, yeah, really, really big things here on the block here for voting with this election here. With that, women's choice and pro-choice or pro-life, a lot of people are going to be voting here for that, as well as state issues as well, governor issues as well, and the student loan forgiveness as well, because Republicans want to strike that down as well. The president has passed that for 43 million Americans, but Republicans want to strike that down as well. You can actually see this article here today. Nearly half of Republican U.S. governors demand Biden withdraw student loan forgiveness plan in its letter. So Republicans potentially, you can see here, there's a lot of people celebrating prematurely. I mean, this is because it's passed by the president. I mean, it is passed with an executive order, but the GOP could bring a legal challenge to block Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. So, I mean, they're going through with it. It's passed. 43 million Americans are going to get major amount of stimulus help, $10,000 to $20,000. It's easy to do because they're just knocking it off their loan. They don't have to really print money per se. It's really just getting knocked off people's loans. The government just forgives the debt. And Biden has passed this through an executive order. I just did a really good video about executive orders for stimulus here in the last video. Former President Donald Trump did this as well. And I'll link you to this here in the right now here for the next video you can watch. But the GOP could challenge this, which could potentially take this away from 43 million Americans. And this would set a bad precedence because then what about the next program? What about the next stimulus program? There's a food assistance raise coming here in about 2 weeks. Well, we don't know what it's going to be yet, but there's a massive conference coming on it. And what if they try to take that away? So this could set a really bad precedence. So this is for 43 million Americans. It could be for you, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your family members, your neighbor. So yeah, this could be really bad in terms of this goes out to people. It's not helping corporations. It's helping people. So let me know your thoughts here on this. I'll link you to a couple videos right now you can watch next that are really good as well. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here's that video about executive orders for stimulus here. You can watch that next. And here is our newest video about Social Security raises for $2,400. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.